Unlimited peace and abundance to you all. Melanated Queen Balance here. Welcome back to the Balance Family channel. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe for more great videos. We welcome you here at Balance Family. And also, do not forget to hit the like button. And also comment. If you have a comment, please leave it in the section below. And I will make sure that I reach out and respond to your comment. So, in today's video, I would like to speak about Ancestry.com. The reason that I feel that it is necessary for me to speak on this is because there have been many misconceptions about Ancestry.com. There's been fear surrounded around Ancestry.com. There's been a fear, an unknowing, and so I just wanted to share my experience and to also shed light on the fact that Ancestry is a tool. It's not something that will work against you, but it is going to work for you. And the thing is that your mindset, the approach to it, whatever we think, we're attracting to ourselves. But when we are open-minded instead of being closed-minded, we choose to be open-minded, we get a wealth of knowledge and information. Knowledge is power. So I wanted to speak on Ancestry and just explain why it is important to go ahead and utilize Ancestry. So, and I do have notes, so I may from time to time look down because I've, written down notes, and then I also have written points that I would like to make, and I want to ensure that I do not forget what my thoughts are or what I want to convey to you all. So with that being said, there has been one of the biggest misconceptions is that I've viewed several YouTube channels, I've spoken to several different people, and they are fearful of utilizing Ancestry because of providing their DNA to Ancestry. And what I'm here to just shed light on is, if you have a birth certificate, a social security card, newsflash, they already have your DNA. Because if one was delivered in a hospital, they always take DNA from the soles of that child's feet. Do not think that when they take that DNA that they do not analyze it. So I want to give more greater explanation in regards to what my experience has been and the knowledge that I have come across. So during the slave trade, and I do have to address the slave trade because there's a point that I'm going to make in doing so. So in the 1500s, when the slave trade started, all the slave masters who owned a slave kept records of the slaves. So every slave has a record. There are documentations, and the slave owners kept those records, and those records are available. We have access to those records if we utilize Ancestry.com. Or the Mormons. The Mormons kept records of our ancestors and forefathers, and the information is there. Now, for my own experience, I was able to trace my forefather. Now, let me just, because I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, so I just want to explain exactly the process. So Ancestry uses the male, the man, our forefather. They link us and our DNA to our forefather. Now, we will have instances where we come across ancestor information as well. But when we are looking at our DNA and when we are tracing our relatives, our ancestors and forefathers back during slavery, there are multiple records that have been kept and that are on file and that Ancestry has access to. So I'm not sure if a lot of people know, I'm not sure how many people know, but for the most part, I'm not saying this is the same for everyone, but the last name that we carry is not our original last name. The last name for the majority part that we carry are that of the slave masters. Because you remember, when slaves were brought to the Americas, when a slave master purchased a slave, that slave master then gave their last name to the slave so that they would be identified as to who is the owner and who that slave belonged to. So the last name that the majority of melanated kings and queens carry are that of slave masters. So the point for me utilizing Ancestry is because I've been told from a child and told who I am. And what I've been told, I do not identify with. So, you know, there's some points that have been made in social media in recent years as far as we went from being called Negroes, Afro-American, and now Black or African American. Those names, where did they come from? I started to ask those questions. Who gave these names? Why is it that our names change so many times, but then the other races, their names never changed? They stayed the same. Or if they did have a minor adjustment, it was not a major adjustment. So therefore, these names for African American, Afro American, Negro, that's multiple different names. And I did not know that that was something that should have been paid attention to closely. So, not to digress, but in this process, we have to pay attention, okay? I wanted to know who I was. Whose DNA do I carry? Where did I come from? Who was here before I existed? And I started the process of Ancestry in high school. But during that time, when I started, I did not know how to research the information, how to gain access to this knowledge. And therefore, I stopped. I gave up on my search because for many years, I felt a void in myself. I knew those who were around me and who I grew up around, but I wanted to know who was here before me. I would go to my grandmother and my mother and ask questions, and the information that they had was limited. So as an adult, I made the decision, a conscious decision, to seek it out for myself. And that's the whole purpose of me doing this video, is to encourage you, the viewers. If you've ever wondered, if you've ever had a wondering and yearning to know who you are, who am I really, where do I come from, and this question has been asked over and over again, or one has pondered this question in their mind, you are not wrong for asking that question. You have every right to know who you are and where you come from, whose DNA are you carrying. And so on this journey, I did the research, and what I've learned is, for the most part, there are families who have already done the footwork for us to locate the information. There are family trees that will connect you to who you are. I didn't always know like the name of my father's father's father on my father's side. However, my mom remembered my great grandfather's name, and that gave me something to go off of. And then I had to also look at my grandmother and my grandfather on my father's side, and they are now deceased. However, there is a record. In going through this process, and I don't want to go too much into detail. If you have detailed questions, please let me know and I will do a video on it. I also do plan to go live where I can answer questions live if you have questions. But the whole point of this video is to encourage you, please do not be afraid or fearful to find out who you are. You have questions, you have a right to know who you are. You have a right to search out this information. I have gained so much knowledge of what my forefather went through while in slavery. With Ancestry, there's records that goes back to the 1500s when the slave trade started. So do not deny yourself of knowing and having that knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is powerful. And when you learn who you are, when we learn who was here before us and learn about what they went through and their challenges that they went through, and they made it through those challenges and those trials, guess what? That will give you a greater appreciation of yourself, and you to be proud to be a descendant of that ancestor or forefather, because they paved the way for us. And the least that we can do is learn about them and the legacies that they left behind. So never allow, I would encourage anyone, do not allow what naysayers say, especially if they have not done their research for themselves to find out for themselves. They're only going by fear. They're being driven by fear. When every melanated person who has, again, a birth certificate or a social security card, guess what? They already have your DNA. It's already on file. And that DNA links us to our ancestors and to our forefathers. I've learned what part of Africa I come from, what bloodlines I carry. I'm able to trace those back. And so can you, if you choose to. Ancestry is a blessing. Instead of looking at Ancestry as a curse, look at it as a blessing, because it gives you the knowledge and the knowing of who you are, where you come from, and you get to look at the records. They have records of when relatives were delivered, babies that were born, adults, when they were baptized, and when they were married. There's records of all of that. Who they married, when they married, the year that they were married. Now, I'm not saying that for each individual person that you are connected to through DNA will have full records. There will be progress. And as you go through the Ancestry and learn about your ancestry, guess what? Ancestry will start to pull records and send those records to you for you to review and connect to who you are. So if you ever want to know, or if you ever wanted to know who you are, Ancestry is a great tool. Now, they also have Black Ancestry. And with the Black Ancestry, they utilize the mother's DNA. So they use the mother side of things. So you can learn how and like who you were connected to, and as far as your mother's family, and how that family, your mother's side of the family started, what tribes you are connected to through DNA. They actually can pinpoint the exact tribes that one belongs to, are able to connect. Now, I have not completed the Black Ancestor DNA kit yet, but I have done research in regards to Black Ancestry, and I must say that I will be moving forward with, utilizing their services as well, because we have a right to know who we are. We have a right to know what kings and queens and gods and goddesses and what royal bloodline we come from. We have that right to know. So I made this video to encourage those who this video is meant to encourage. Do not fear swabbing and sending the DNA in so that information can be sent back to you to show you, and so that you can see for yourself who you come from. And when you do that, you can say, I know who I am. I've wondered for many years, but now I know. With that being said, again, if you have any questions, if you have any type of feedback or questions in regards to this video, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will respond. And again, I will be doing a live coming up soon to give you time where we can all talk about this. And if you have questions, if I have the answer, I will answer. And if I do not have the answer, I'll research it and I'll get back to you on it. With that being said, unlimited peace and abundance to all. And again, if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and like this video and share this video with those who are in the search to finding out who they are. I want to encourage anyone to do your ancestry. They already have our DNA. They already know where we come from. They already know what tribes we come from. It's just that we do not know. So once we do our research and we seek it out, then we can say we know. Until then, unlimited peace and abundance. Peace.